Hello friends, it's Duncan at Free as an Eagle, just doing a little quick update. Absolutely gorgeous day. It's actually 40 up here. We're having our little winter thaw on December 31st. This is New Year's Eve, so I was up doing a little bit of work while it was this beautiful. And just want to catch you up on what's going on. I got my driveway back. All the snow came down off the roof. Now, I'm a skier and an outdoors guy. I went hiking a couple of times before it got real warm and rained. So I wasn't too happy to see the snow go away, but on the other hand, it does make things a lot easier in terms of getting back up on the roof. I was able to tie up some loose ends today, which I had given up hope of actually doing until spring. But I'm walking along on the left side of the A-frame now, so you can see where we're at right now. The walkboards and all that staging are still in place. We weren't able to take it down and it got piled with snow, but there were some missing shingles on the upper left side, which I'll zoom in on. Probably won't matter to anybody but me, but there were a few we never got to up in the left end there, and I got up today and tied those in and sealed the ridge. We're actually going to make up roof metal this coming week, and we have it all ready to go, and we were hoping to actually do that the last couple of days, but sadly we all had a round of COVID. Myself, Al, son-in-law, kids, everything. Pretty much every one of us got COVID. I didn't get it too badly. This is probably my fourth round of it, so it's sort of like the new common cold. But so I wasn't feeling 100% today, but good enough to get up here and doodle around a little bit. So we got that upper part of the roof tied in, and then the upper right end we were just about done with when the weather shut us down, so I got all that sealed in. So the very few remaining leaks are now closed off. Got all the temporary windows in of the marine vinyl, which is a terrific product. It's holding up beautifully and lets a lot of light in. It's almost totally clear. I got the blemished version of it, which is about half price, and for my purposes is plenty good. So, and I actually got this door put in a week or two ago, probably about a week ago. So I was happy to get that done. Got the little door recycled from a project that Al had going on, and it was metal gray, looked kind of battered, and I had it up here, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not putting it up like that. So I went home, mixed some paint together, and made it a pretty nice teal green that goes well with the roofing. So that's temporary, but a lot easier to just turn a key and walk in than unscrewing a bolts from a sheet of plywood. So anyway, little improvements. I will take a peek inside. Today I did that roofing work and then decided to go in and do some cleaning up upstairs now that I freed up some staging from the far end. Okay, so we come in this way. Downstairs isn't super neat yet, but it's not bad. And from inside here you can see these windows are quite clear. You know, you can see right through and out, and they look a little funny. I mounted most of them on the inside because doing it from the outside is either impossible or very difficult when it's snow, and there was snow when they came in. So I may have covered this last video, but nevertheless I'll continue. And so this area I'd cleaned out for the wood stove that's coming soon, and these upper windows, all the temporaries went in. Once that was done, I was able to pull the staging. So what I'm going to do, we'll take a little walk upstairs, and part of today's project was just getting this cleaned up here so we can move to the next business of finishing some nailing downstairs. I think last video I chatted about adding nailers, especially on the ends of wood. You can see here, I'll just look out the south side for a minute. So the nailing had to be installed all along the very end where sheetrock will need to have something to be screwed into at the end where it meets that wall. I'm a little out of breath actually. I got the battling off the last of the COVID, I hope, and it's slowing me down a little bit. Okay, so let me zoom back out here. Okay, that's the east-facing dormer, and that actually has nice views. I wasn't expecting that. It's quite pretty out there. So those temporary windows are in. It's really nice having it closed in, no wind coming through, quite a bit warmer than it was. So the nailers I was talking about, this dormer was a bit of a challenge because we built it out of a space where we had 3 rafters taken out, and to get that to exactly meet where you want to is quite tricky. So as you can see, there's these little tails indicating that we didn't land exactly where we wanted. And I think what we actually used as valley rafters wasn't as wide as it could have been. But nevertheless, there's some tricks for, I'll extend some long straight 2x4s across these two planes. You can see the plane that the dormer walls form, and then those rafters come up. Then the rafters going across from end to end, there's a point of intersection of those two planes, and that's where the valley rafter really ought to be. So if I extend some 2x4s out, the point where they cross from each roof plane across the other will be where that valley rafter needs to be. So one trick I've used in the past is just running a string line to represent that valley rafter, which I'll probably do. And then what you simply do is take a piece of wood and position it where it will take the place of that string, and you shim and use various techniques to tie that in, so that now you have something where sheetrock will come in from either direction, meeting on a nice even corner. And then there's a special type of sheetrock joint tape that has metal in it that will bend to conform to that angle. So when you go to tape it, it actually produces a very nice result. So that's my next little project up in here. What I'm trying to do now is tie up all the framing. Most of it's good. What we'll do is, when the framing and the nailers are all in place, two things can happen, and one of them is insulating, and then the other one is wiring. So I will put in a layer. Now this is 2x12 framing, so that'll basically hold R38 insulation, which is quite thick. I'm going to run R19 in most of the areas, so I've insulated halfway, and that'll hold some heat in the winter. And then I can actually run the wire at that point, and it'll be sandwiched in toward the center of the beams, which is exactly where you want it. So it's far away from screws and nails. And there's another advantage. It's skipping my mind right now, but once it's in between that, yeah, you don't have to cut through thick insulation and stuff the wiring between slits and insulation, which I kind of hate doing. You stir it up and you breathe it. You wear masks, of course, but nevertheless, it creates a lot of the nasty little dust from the particles, fibers of fiberglass. So it's always nice to avoid stirring that up. So R19 will allow for some insulation, allow for the wiring to be done, and then when that's all done, I'll put a second layer of R19 that'll add up to R38 and produce a very nice amount of insulation value. And then of course these end walls and the dormer walls are 2x8, so that'll be a little less insulation value, but still quite good compared to normal framing. Codes require 2x6s, and now new construction, most places 2x4s, very little actual R value permitted to fit between a 2x4 wall. It's only 3.5 inches, so 2x12 you're up to 11.25. You got a heck of a lot. 2x8 you've got a 7.25 inch gap in there, so it's quite nice. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now. So kind of looking forward to filling in all these little areas. Once the framing's done, then I can really step things up and aim to have the interior pretty well done by spring. Insulation, wiring, and sheetrock are the goal. And a few things I never quite finished, I'm still waiting on. We ran the conduit for the wiring in the ground, and then the weather closed in and stopped the process. So I'm like, well, nowadays you have these really terrific battery tools. You can work all day on battery tools, and if I need something powered, like a table saw that really munches power, then I just set up the generator, fire it up. I actually brought that in. I didn't want it buried in snow, so I have that inside now. And now that I got this place fairly secure, I don't feel uncomfortable doing that. I can wheel that out on the deck as needed, and run a cord in and fire up power tools. So we are moving along, and the new year is at hand. Tonight is New Year's Eve. We're going to a little New Year's Eve party at a restaurant down where the boys live. And we're going to have a good time tonight, and then hopefully we'll feel good enough tomorrow to get up and put away all that Christmas stuff and close down that operation. Start the new year. So anyway, I'm going to sign off. Happy New Year, everybody. And I'm glad, I appreciate your following this little project up until now. Hope you'll stick with me, and we'll be working on this little project hopefully into probably late summer or fall to get the exterior done. And if I stay on schedule, then we'll be prepared for guests to arrive sometime in the late summer or fall, which will really be fun. So a long way to go, but this is basically my job now, just working on this little house. So it's going to continue to be fun and hopefully really pretty when it's done. All right then, Happy New Year and have a good night, folks.